So hello everyone, we'll discuss about expected utility theory. So expected utility theory as a theory was given by Bernoulli in 1738, and he explained it using a coin of toss game using St. Petersburg's paradox to demonstrate that what are the limitations of expected value as a when we are taking a decision. So he proposed a utility function to showcase that how do people choose or how do people take decisions. And he assumed that people try to maximize their utility and not the expected value. So everybody tries to maximize their utility. So basically, while explaining the utility theory, on x-axis we can take wealth and y-axis can be taken as utility or satisfaction. And he proposed that utility is not a linear function of wealth. So it's not that it will not be linearly related to wealth, but it is a subjective concave evaluation of outcome. So everybody, so because there is subjectivity involved, so everybody's choices, preferences will matter when somebody is deciding that certain amount of wealth gives him what level of utility. And decreasing marginal utility concept also plays a role in this. So as you consume more and more of a particular alternative or option, so you realize that the next level of satisfaction or the marginal satisfaction every next unit is going to give you is going to decline. So that's how he tries to propose this utility curve, the expected utility curve, that it increases initially and then it becomes constant and then it goes down.
I don't know how to do 5G PE. जो PE क्लास है वो नहीं
देख लेंगे, एक दिन तो कर ले. So this indirectly also assumed the concept of risk aversion. It also assumed that people's attitude towards risk was positioned as a product of their attitudes towards value. So basically the way people perceive risk or the way people consider that the amount of risk they are ready to take, that will also matter in terms of how much value they attach to and to the total outcome as well as the utility curve. So under this expected utility theory, there are various axioms which are given. One such axiom is a preference axiom, or while deciding about that how do people define utility and how do people take decisions related to the choices. So let's say there are two players. I mean, there's a player who's able to there are two lotteries and he has to choose one of them. There are two lotteries which are named as lottery A and lottery B. Then the participant prefer lottery A to lottery B, or he is indifferent between both the lotteries, or third assumption can be that he can prefer lottery B to lottery A. So that means whenever such decisions are to be taken, the alternatives which are given, they are comparable. So that is how this is technically defined as a comparability axiom or a preference axiom. Then there is a transitivity axiom which is known as coherence axiom. This says that if a lottery A is preferred to lottery B, which is preferred to lottery C, then A is equal to C also. So one can shift from one alternative to the other alternative or all the alternatives since they are comparable. So A is also comparable to C or can be preferred to C. There is a non-saturation axiom as per which that any person wants to infinitely increase his utility. As per continuity axiom, it says that any minor changes in the probability of happening of an event should not lead to modification of order of preference of individuals. So based on the alternatives which are given and the personal choices, people give preferences to various alternatives, and any change in the probability of happening of any event should not lead to modifications in the order of preference. independence axiom defines that the preference characteristics should not change with any change in the number of alternatives which are available. Like if third lottery is introduced, then preference of individuals should not change toward the other two lotteries. So when that means when these probabilities are defined for all the alternatives which are available, so these preferences or utilities or probabilities which are assigned, they are independent of each other. So adding new alternatives or reducing some alternatives will not change the probability or weightage or the utility a person assigns to alternative A, to alternative B, to alternative C, or like this. So there is independence of, we do not look at that what new things will change based on which the probabilities do not change. So as explained to you earlier as well, that expected utility theory basically helps people to take a decision related to, it's about making the choice which maximizes the utility of a person. So this theory explains how decisions are made based on coherently weighing outcomes of action with respect to the probabilities. Those outcomes which give more utility are chosen, and thus preference for and it shows that people prefer the dominant alternatives. The expected utility theory also deals with analysis of choices among risky projects with multidimensional outcomes, and it helps you describe the preference of risk. The way alternatives are presented as per the expected utility theory, the way situation or alternatives are presented to the decision maker, it does not influence the decision. But this is one point which contradicts with the prospect theory. Expected utility hypothesis assumes that individuals are rational while facing uncertain situations. Every individual has information available which can differ amongst them. This means that information is not equally available, but information is rationally processed by each of the individual. In game theory and economic decision theory, the expected utility hypothesis concerning people's preference with regard to choices states that if specific axioms are satisfied, the subjective value associated with an individual's gamble is the statistical expectations of individual's valuation of the outcome. So basically you can, with the help of probabilities which you assign or subjective values which you assign to various alternatives, they can be used to find out a value. Statistically we can find out a certain amount that will lead to the decision to be taken, in terms of that we can multiply the weights with the probabilities and we can solve this equation and find out which will be the best option. But there is criticism of this theory because by behavioral decision sciences, which argues that Bernoulli's paper was concise and brilliant, but the theory is not perfect. Like any mathematical model, expected utility theory is simplification of reality. It does not guarantee human behavior and practices followed in real life. So researchers have tried to test the adequacy of expected utility theory and found that there are deviations in actual behavior, which has led to the development of the field of behavioral finance. So this is about expected utility theory, because the prospect theory, based on the criticism which is given here in the expected utility theory, because there are various assumptions of expected utility theory which has been criticized, that man is rational. So, but behavioral scientist says that man is not rational, he is irrational, or he take humanly decisions rather than taking only the economic decisions. Then another aspect of utility theory that says that, which we just now talked about, that the risk attitude of people remains constant. But the prospect theory says that risk attitude will vary as per the situations which are given. So there's another theory called revealed preference theory, which is also a theory given by various by economists. 2 centuries ago, von Neumann and Morgenstern, they revolutionized Bernoulli's expected utility theory by giving revealed preference theory or subjective expected theory. So Bernoulli used utility to define preferences. What Bernoulli did in an expected utility theory, he said that all the utility, everything can be quantified in utilities, and based on highest utility we will choose. So something which will give highest utility, that means that is the most preferred option. But von Neumann, he used preferences in defining utility. Von Neumann did the contrary. He said that, first we define the preferences of alternatives and then we assign utilities. Von Neumann did not define individual preference ordering, but defined certain constraints on possible relationship between individual preferences. He used 2 axioms, consistency and coherence axiom. And people seeks to maximize their subjective expected utility. Each person, so based on that, each person may have a different utility curve, but all follow same normative axioms for achieving their individually defined maximum subjective expected utility. So he agreed that people follow try to maximize their expected utility, but each one can have a different utility curve. So the axioms which are used for this particular theory, that if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A can be equal to C. And another axiom they have used is that if one option is better in one aspect and good in all other, that option will be preferred to the other one. So it cannot be that, there can be multiple outcomes of choosing a particular alternative. So based on whatever, if we give weightage to each of the alternative or each of the outcome, and if one outcome is giving you one alternative is giving you one best outcome and rest other subsidiary benefits, then maybe preference is decided on the basis of that. So preference, and then this third one, invariance. Preference remains unchanged regardless of order or method of presentation. But here prospect theory again differs over this with this expected utility theory as well as the revealed preference theory, because they say that framing does not matter. But prospect theory says the way situations, alternatives, things are presented to a decision maker, that matters a lot. So that is another point how both these theories have been criticized by behavioral scientists, and they have said that that's how they have propounded the prospect theory. All these axioms are relevant to all rational decision making models as they are logically correct, but people do violate all of them in actual behavior. That's why Kahneman and Tversky gave this as a major finding while giving the prospect theory.